Hello, everybody. One of these days I'm going to invest in a better camera. But anyway, I got a lot to talk about, and I hope that you stay to the very end. I don't know how long this is going to be, but I do have a lot to say. First of all, I've heard that there's pictures, and I have seen them, that looks like President Cheeto is melting like a wax doll or something. I figure it's because he isn't able to get plastic surgery anymore, so his face is starting to droop. And he has a lot of obvious health problems. And I do have medical education, and I would say that he has heart and lung problems and liver problems. He's probably diabetic with high blood pressure. And most of his bruising is probably because when you get older, and he's 79, you can hit yourself on anything and bruise and not even know it. You know, I do that, but I'm diabetic. And I believe he is too. But I don't think that he would ever accept any treatment for these conditions because not only is he too stupid, he's supposed to be perfect. You know, there's nobody more beautiful than him. I tell you, when I first laid eyes on him, I thought he was ugly, but with those melting pictures, I didn't think he could ever get any uglier, but I believe he has. But I don't know why he looks like that, and I don't know why he was gone for several days. And it is possible that the aliens did make him, like I said before, and they found out that he was very defective, so they kicked it toward us, and someone went and kicked him toward the presidency. I'd like to kick that person. But I think right now, what we need to do as people is throw away our differences and aim on getting him out of the office somehow. I see that there's millions of people all over the United States that are gathering in the big cities and pushing back at all this, and that's great. I love seeing it. And we need more of that. And to forget our differences. No race, no tags, just people. Who cares where you came from? Who cares anything? We need to think as one hive mind and work on getting him out before the midterms. And he's really, in a way, made his own declaration of war on our country. You know, it's a war that he wants, but we don't want. Because he's stepping all over people who can't help themselves. He's stepping all over children, widows, veterans, homeless. The list goes on and on and on. And he doesn't care. He don't care as long as he gets his pennies. And he thinks everybody is worthless but the rich. The rich count, everybody else doesn't. So I guess he'll let the rich live. I don't know. And I just found out the other day that he's not only attacking Hispanics, he's moved on to African Americans. And that, you kind of choke on that when you say it, because what? Haven't they been through enough? They're almost as equal as we are. And I say almost because there's probably a few things they can't do still, but they're working on it. And so are we. You know, if it was me, I would say, just leave them alone. Just like all the other people. Just leave them alone. Let them have their pensions back and their food stamps and everything else that he's managed to cut off. And that's what really I hate. I hate that more than anything because he makes a cut in a department and then he never says why or what good it's going to do. Usually, from my experience, when a president is trying to balance the budget, he will say, you know, I have to cut this a little bit, but, you know, it'll do this good and it'll do this good. But he doesn't do that. You know, I guess you have to care and you have to have a heart before you can say, you know, this is what good will do. But, you know, I've always thought he was 100% evil. That's why I call him President Cheeto, is because every time I say his real name, I feel like I'm summoning a demon. And who knows? Demons take all shapes, you know. And it just angers me, you know, because he admires people who are dictators or despots or authoritarians. That's his models. Now let me tell you about some of them from the past that I know about, because these will surprise you probably if you haven't heard of them already. And of course, you know, I'm not going to say anything about A.H. from Germany because I think we've talked about him too much. You know, we know that that's Cheeto's idol. But I'm going to tell you some other people that sound pretty familiar. One of them, the first one I picked for my list, was Mussolini. And I'm sure everybody knows about him. And he made Italy miserable for a long time. But they finally went in, grabbed him, and they drug him down the street. Oh, poor Mr. Mussolini. Imagine a lot of people wish that they had been able to film that. And, of course, next on my list is good old Stalin. And we know how bad he was. I mean, he believed in working somebody till they're dead. He used to send people for no apparent reason to gulags in northern Siberia, where they didn't have hardly anything to eat or drink, and they couldn't grow crops or anything. And gulags are really bad. They're a Russian detention camp, more or less. I can't really say prison, but because they can get outside when they want to, but it didn't do them any good. And there was no escaping the place or places where he sent them to. It would just get him killed automatically. And he planned all kinds of different ways to attack the people. And even when he was dying on his deathbed, he was planning ways of making people miserable and ways to kill them. Can you imagine? You're laying there and you're dying and you're not thinking about if there's a beyond or anything. You're just thinking about how many more people can I kill? And the next one I want to mention because he was something else. Pol Pot. Have you ever heard of him? Well, he was a big asshole. I mean, he was really, really mean. And have you ever heard of the killing fields? Well, that's where he sent people to work. and not to get paid, but to work 24/7. And they worked and worked until they dropped dead. But that made him happy. Can you believe it? It actually made him happy. That is just crazy. But that's what these villain leaders do. I guess they think it's a superpower, but it's not. And we all remember the Ceausescu's, how they treated their country in Romania. And they finally had to attack them and drag them out into the streets and tie them up and execute them. And to do this, they actually had to have a lottery on who could shoot them. And I imagine every citizen of Romania probably signed up for it. And the mother, whatever, the queen, whatever they called her, her last words was, "But I've always been like a mother to you." And there were reports and rumors that after she said that, they shot her in the mouth. Which, if they did, I wouldn't blame them. And I'm going to go back a little further and talk about Vlad the Impaler. Now, there's an evil guy. That guy hated everything but himself. Sound familiar? Well, this guy would kill people randomly, and he would put them on pikes and different ways. And he would line the walkway up to his castle with these people. And it was a sign that says, "Look what I can do, and I can do this to you too if you come up here." Well, they did. And they drug him down to a chamber in the basement of his own castle, where they locked him up to stay there till he died. And I always wonder, I wonder how many times they forgot to bring him food and water. I probably imagine they never did. Because why would you? Why would you award that person like that with food and water? They don't deserve it. And there have also been women people who have also reigned miserably and evilly. And the first one on my mind was Elizabeth Bathory. Now, she was a ruler over Romania a long time ago. And what she was accused of was taking young women into her castle or house, whatever, and killing them, cutting them up and eating them, draining their blood. She drank it and also bathed in it because she thought that was going to make her live forever. Well, it didn't. Nope, it did not. And it's just strange why people do shit like that. I don't understand it. And also, there's another woman. We're going to go over to Britain now. Mary the First. She was another one that practiced that crap of thinking that the flesh and blood of a young girl will make her live forever. I'm not sure how she died, but I think it was by getting her head chopped off. And then there's Leopold II. He was a leader of Haiti for a while. And he was under that forced labor thing. He loved that. And he loved to starve people. And finally, the country was turned over to Belgium, and they took over. But I'm not exactly sure how he died. You might look that one up. And let's see, who's next on my list? Oh yes, Dr. Joseph Mengele. That name should really sound familiar. He was a doctor at Auschwitz, and he done some really weird, sick experiments on the Jewish people. He was also especially enamored with twins. He would shoot them up with a disease of some sort and see how each twin would react. And sometimes they would survive, and he would wonder why. But some of them didn't survive because he was also into amputating legs and arms and whatever he could amputate. And I doubt very much if he used anesthesia, because he just wanted to mutilate everything. Every Jewish thing. And I don't know, it just kind of, I don't know, he just gets me a lot, because every time I look at his pictures and stuff, you could just see the evil in his eyes. And unfortunately, the big asshole died naturally and peacefully. He didn't deserve that at all. And as I was saying earlier about Pol Pot, he used to be credited with killing the most people. And I don't think he is anymore because, you know, they've killed a lot of people in China over the years. And there's, next on my list is Mao Zedong. I wonder if you remember him. I do, and heard about him a lot. I think he was the one that gave everybody the idea for the purge, because he had everyone killed that he thought was against him. And, of course, he chose the ones that were against him, you know, like the brown shirts did. And if you could picture how somebody could be killed, that's what he used to kill them. So you might use your imagination on that one. Now here's one that everybody talks about, but I just want to talk about him briefly. Nero, he's the only one whose name comes up to 666. And he was a big asshole too. And he would pick people randomly around the cities and have them tied up to poles and set on fire while they were still alive. And that's where the name Roman candle came from. You know, what we use in fireworks these days. But his Roman candles were terrible. And, you know, he got pleasure out of watching this. And he loved it. I mean, how evil can a person be? It's hard to imagine or wrap your mind around. And back to Mao Zedong. They lost over 55 million lives. And when they told him that, he was very, very pleased. Very pleased. And there was something else I wanted to say about that. Hang on a second. Okay, here we go. I missed this one. Mao Zedong made the Great Leap Forward, which was from 59 to 1958 to 1962. And every insane experiment was done. It was a disaster. It caused the Great Chinese Famine, which was a success because it killed 45 million people. But he needed more than that. And then he come up with the Great Pro-Cultural Revolt in 1906 or 1946. And that's when all the dying started, and his toll was 55 million people. And he was very, very pleased with that when they told him. And usually, they're always saying that President Cheeto's people are like a cult. Well, I'll tell you the things that usually make up a cult. The leader has to have a lot of charisma. And they always talk about what people really need. And they claim to be very religious. Remember that Cheeto Bible? And they claim that they're going to have and supply caring for all people. And then they say there's going to be more money for all people. That he's going to make sure that everybody is paid more. And they always say to their people, look around you. What's going on? I'm going to make all that much, much better. It's going to be like heaven on earth. It's going to be the most beautiful thing you ever saw. I wish he'd quit saying that. But to me, that sounds like Jim Jones. That's what he did. And I found somebody here that probably is rarely spoke about. And it's Ranavalona. That was the leader of Madagascar from 1839 to 1909. And he killed everything on feet. That is the truth. He was called the Mad Monarch of Madagascar. And 2 caregivers that was taking care of him before. Let's see. Okay, it's a woman. I'm sorry. 2 caregivers was with her and taking care of her when she died. But they didn't report it right away. And they said for several days, which, several days can add up. She might have been a skeleton by the time they reported it. And let's see. Okay, something to add to Elizabeth Bathory. She was imprisoned in Castle Siete until she died in 1614. So, no wonder those aliens won't land here. No wonder they stay in the sky and flash their lights. If I seen what was going on here from space, and I didn't know what humans were all about, I wouldn't land here either. I mean, if they did land, he would probably want to deport them And where's he going to deport him to? And I think that is all the evil nut jobs that I can name for right off the top of my head. And maybe you can list a few in the comments for me. Could you please? I would love it. But be nice, you know. I've always had this thing about you can make a point without F-bombs and foul language. And it gets across just as well. And I don't know. So much is happening these days that I can't hardly keep track of it. And now he's messing with the National Guard's payments because he puts them on 29-day shifts or assignments. And from what I've heard, if they're on 29 days, then they don't get their pay or health benefits. Wow. I don't know. You know, I do know how he got to be where he is. He got bought there. That's why he chummed up to Elon Musk, which is probably another evil guy, because with all his money, he could pay for everything that the United States needs in every state, and then some, and keep on paying and not even miss the money. He's such a jerk. Of course, who would hang out with President Cheeto? I can't imagine. I really can't, because I can't even stand to look at him. You know, everybody's talking about he's probably dying. Well, I don't know. I would like to have some verification on that. But his doctor won't say nothing. He'll say he's 230 pounds, healthy as a 30-year-old, and is just wonderful. Well, he's none of those things. He's very evil, very uncaring, and he probably don't even care about his family. His family is probably suffering too. So, I think that's all I've got to say today, and if you've made it this far, I am really, really thanking you, because I really, really do appreciate it. And I would really, really appreciate it if you would leave comments and subscribe, because I plan on making future comments, and they may not be all about aliens and Cheeto, but I will make more comments that I hope will interest you and entertain you at the same time. So, thank you for listening, and have a wonderful, wonderful, great day. And there's one more thing I want to say. You know, it wouldn't hurt for us to start praying too. You know, God is the strongest, most powerful person in the whole universe. And drawing on his power in prayer might help a bit too. No matter what your religion is, no matter how you pray, no matter what you do, just pray. If you're being hurt by this guy, pray. And also, keep working on getting him out of here and making sure he doesn't try another term, ever. Thank you, thank you, thank you for listening to me. Goodbye.